Hello, everybody. It is Friday of week 4 of our distance learning. Hopefully, you all got to participate in some of the Earth Day events that were posted. Also, hopefully, we are good with chapter 13. I know that I have had some questions on some things, but really for chapter 13, when we're finding circumference, perimeter, composite figures, and areas, it's basically the geometric formulas, and you are just filling in the formulas with the measurements that you know. So it should be relatively simple, but I do know also that there is a lot of steps in some cases. There's all of the different formulas that you have to use. So it's very important that you make yourself a list of these formulas so that you can reference back to them when doing this work. Chapter 14, we're going to be talking about surface area of prisms, surface area of pyramids, and let me see what else they do. We also have surface area of cylinders, volumes of prism, volumes of pyramids. So this could be a little tricky working on this online because, of course, in the classroom, I have the geometric shapes where you guys could visually touch and see them, because when we're talking about surface area and volume, we're talking about three-dimensional figures. Okay, we did two-dimensional figures back in the last chapter. Now we're on to three-dimensional figures. So you're going to have to go back in your brain a little bit and try and remember 3D shapes and what they're called and what they consist of. So we're going to go over that today. This might be a little bit of a long video for Friday, but it is Friday, and you have the weekend to also kind of refresh your memory as well. Okay, so to start this, the first example we're going to talk about is finding the surface area of a rectangular prism. Now, when we're talking about prisms, you have prisms and you have pyramids. Pyramids will be in 14.2, but prisms typically have two bases, okay? And depending on what the shape of that base is, that is the type of prism. So for example, for this example one here, well, this is in your textbook. This is a rectangular prism because the shape of its bases are rectangles. Okay, so if we take this rectangular prism and we opened it up and laid it out, this is called a net. I'm going to write that down. This is a net. And that's just showing you it opened up and all the different shapes that the prism consists of. Okay, so, sorry, I don't like my arrow. You have two rectangular bases, and then the other parts of this that make up the rectangular prism are called lateral faces. So that is what your prisms are going to consist of. They're going to consist of two bases, and then however many lateral faces there are depends on what the shape of the base is. Since the shape of the base is a rectangle here, a rectangle has 4 sides, that means there's going to be 4 lateral faces. So to find the surface area of a prism, you have to find the area of each base and each lateral face. Add all of those up, and that is your surface area. It is the sum of the area of all the faces, whether they're bases and lateral faces, okay? Seems like a lot. Let's do an example. Okay, so here we're shown a rectangular prism because the highlighted red here is also the same as this one down here. Its bases are rectangles, okay? So if we were to open this up, the first part, if it makes it easy for you to draw the net, okay, if it seems like it's a little bit difficult, You can try and work it this way. Just know there are 6 shapes that make this rectangular prism. So that means you're going to have 6 areas. And the way that I taught my 6th graders when we were talking about surface area is there's always a top, a bottom, 2 sides, a front, and a back. Okay, so that's 6. So let's do it that way. So let's go top, bottom, front, back, side, side. Okay, so you have to look at the dimensions that it gives you. So this right here is the bottom. It's going to be the same on the top. Okay, so your top and the bottom are going to be the same. So if we're to find the area of this rectangle, we would do 3 times 5, which equals 15, and the bottom is the same. So 3 times 5 equals 15. Let's call this the front. Okay, this part right here. The front is going to be 3 times 6. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you're labeling them differently as long as you have 6 areas. 3 times 6 is 18. So if this is the front, the back is going to be the same. 3 times 6 is 18. So now we have our sides. I'll do a different color here. Wait. Our sides are going to be here and the one that's over here. That's why sometimes it's easier to draw it out as a net. But if you can see it visually this way, that this is your side here, and that's going to be, you just have to look at where your dimensions are. We know that this side, or this edge here, is 5, and we know that this edge is 6. So we're looking at 5 times 6, which is 30, and 5 times 6, which is 30. Now I'm going to add up all 6 of these numbers to find my surface area. They're not lined up easily, but I'm just going to do 8 plus 8 is 16, and 16 plus 10 is 26. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 126, and because we are doing surface area, it's going to be inches squared. Okay, 126 inches squared. So just make sure you have enough areas for the amount of faces that the shape has. Okay. Example 2 is finding the surface area of a triangular prism. Now the triangular prism is named the triangular prism because its bases are triangles. Even though the triangle is on top and bottom, you have to be able to look at the shape and realize that there's only 2 bases and they're the same. So that's how you know this is a triangular prism. That's how you know that the triangle is the base, because then you have a green lateral face, a blue lateral face, and then you have a purple one that's in the back here. Okay, so this right here is a picture of the net of this shape. Now you need to find the area of the bases and the area of the lateral faces. So this is where, again, we need to remember our area formulas. And the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So then my area of my triangle is going, it's going to be 1/2. The base is 5. And the height of my triangle, you can see that this is a right triangle. So the 4 is going to be my height. Okay, which actually I made a mistake then. I was looking at it, this is probably a mistake that you might make as well. You think that because you're looking at this triangle here, this is your base, but in reality, this is the this is the hypotenuse of the triangle. The 3 is the base, and the 4 is the height. So let me switch this. 3 times 4. All right, so 3 times 4 is 12. Half of 12 equals 6. Okay, so you can see here on a triangular prism, you have 2 bases and 3 lateral faces. Why? Because a triangle only has 3 sides, so you're only going to have 3 lateral faces. So you need 5 areas for this surface area. So 6 is for one triangle, but you do have 2 triangles, so 6 plus 6 equals 12. So the area of the bases is 12. Now you have to do the area of each lateral face. When we had the rectangular prism, you had a top and a bottom, a side and a side, a front and a back. Well, this one you have 3 different size lateral faces. So I'm going to put G for green. The green one for the area is going to be 3 times 6, which is 18. The purple one is going to be 5 times 6, which is 30. And the blue one is going to be 4 times 6, which is 24. If I add those up, I'm going to get 12, 5, 6, 7, 72. All right, so I'm going to add my 12 plus 72. My total surface area is 84 meters squared. I'm just taking the sum of the areas of all of the faces. Okay. One more. Surface area of the cube. A cube, you have all the same side lengths. Okay, so with that being said, this one is a little bit simpler. You're going to have 2 square bases, and then you're going to have 4 square lateral faces. They're all squares, and squares all have the same side length. So the formula for a cube is pretty simple. It's going to be the surface area equals 6x squared. Okay? 6x squared. I'm sorry. Not x. S, because S standing for side. Okay? Why is it 6s squared? To find the area of a square, you have to multiply side times side. Side times side is side squared. So side squared gives you the area of one lateral face of the cube. You have 6 lateral faces of a cube. So it's 6 times s squared. So because the side lengths on this cube are 12, you're going to get 6 times 12 squared, which is going to equal 6 times 144, which is going to equal 864 meters squared. All right. I know it seems like a lot. Take your time. I didn't assign many of these problems. Draw them out. Highlight the different faces. Do what you need to do to make sure you are getting all lateral faces, all bases. And of course, let me know if you have questions. Once you complete this video and the assignment with this, you should be all set for the week, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you guys.